Welcome to another episode 5 of Roving Slant.
Yeah.
I'm here with my co-host. You can name yourself.
Jordan Von Strangle.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a deep cut right
I want to be Heiseldorf today. I felt like German or something.
Is that even German?
I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
Heiseldorf.
It sounds just like a fantasy.
Yeah, it does. Actually, yeah, the dwarf aspect of it does.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you're like a crazy wizard. You got hair everywhere and you're like smoking crack.
It's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that smoke crack and ultimate divinity.
Yeah.
I, on this episode, have encountered my good omen. That is, word from above.
Oh.
Whether it be the collective unconsciousness, God himself, whatever God is in all the other religions, the names for him, I do not know them yet, until I invoke him. But I recently, first off, have you ever eaten baby carrots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
what's your opinion of them?
I don't care for them just by themselves. If you dip them in like ranch, like that's like a veggie tray, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm good with that. I'd rather stick to, peppers, potatoes, even though potatoes aren't really vegetable.
I think it's a vegetable.
I think technically, but nutrition wise, when they say eat your vegetables, they don't mean potatoes. So
yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't trust the USDA on any of their dietary advice, since they got their hands in every pot for that. Everybody's stew pot, frankly.
Yeah,
but
mine's got potatoes in it.
It's true. So what is your conception of what a baby carrot is? What is it to you?
Okay, so I don't. You know what's funny? I don't actually even know how they grow baby carrots.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them other than they're really small carrots. They are very you're kind of awakening me to something that I'm now realizing, and that why are all baby carrots shaped exactly the same way?
Yeah, so this is funny, right? Because I've never consciously given enough thought to this. I've just been eating these.
Yeah.
I've been eating healthier, so I was thinking, well, I can introduce more vegetables, and a good guideline for eating healthy is just to try to eat as many unprocessed foods in varying colors as possible. Because more often than not, the color indicates what kind of vitamin. I mean, it's not a 1-to-1, and it's not always going to be the same. But if you eat yellow squashes and you eat green peppers, they're going to have different vitamins than the other stuff, and vice versa. So,
of course.
I was thinking about baby carrots, and I'm like, man, these are so weird. Why are they so strange? And they're sweeter than normal carrots, and they just, why are they all this perfect shape? Right? Some of them are different cuts. I mean, it's not completely uniform, but it's really bizarre to me. And I always just assumed growing up that baby carrots were just carrots that were culled young. That's what I assumed. But that's not the case. I out of nowhere, for some reason, I had this awakening when I looked at the bag, and the bag says baby cut carrots. And I was like, huh. So I looked this shit up, and it turns out they just take normal carrots and cut them to those sizes and then round the edges.
What the heck?
Yeah, so it's just normal carrot. And my initial thought was man, these people have been fucking with me this whole time. I'd assumed they were baby carrots. I feel a personal injustice knowing that these aren't actually young carrots, that I've just been eating old carrots masquerading as young carrots. It's like makeup, Yeah, they're actually just old carrots.
You got catfished into, you wanted the young ones, and you got catfished into still eating the old ones.
I've literally been catfished by the carrot making farms. It's actually bullshit. So I was really annoyed with this, and I thought that this was just the most. I don't know. It was just a lie that I should have seen. I felt stupid and all of this, and I also was angry at the carrot farms for doing this to me, for making carrots more snackable in this form and lying to me.
Yeah.
So days go by. I've been holding this anger, and I don't know how to vent it, but I use whatever coping mechanisms I have. And I was I also happen to be interested in this book called Salt, Sugar, and Fat, which I was reading. And it talks about... It's actually a really interesting book. I highly recommend it.
It's like a YouTube show, isn't it, too?
I don't know.
Or it might be a real cooking show.
Okay.
That, too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But the book itself is really, really good. I'll talk more about it in a bit. But this relates to the divinity, the God's good omen to me. So, like, I was angry about it. And I passed... the first section of the book, it's in 3 parts, is sugar, and they talk about sugar. And I was reading this story about this Coke executive, I think his name was Jeffrey Dunn. Don't quote me, I could be wrong on that. Yeah. And the essential story was that his father worked in marketing for Coca-Cola and for many years, and then eventually he ended up wanting to go into marketing as well. Jeffrey Dunn's father was a marketer, and he sold a bunch of his job was selling Coke to fountains to make sure that the bastards at Pepsi didn't get any of their drinks in there, and they had full complete control. The monarchy of Coca-Cola.
That's true.
And so Jeffrey Dunn gets into it and moves up pretty high in positions. I don't remember if it was just marketing lead or if he actually got to CEO, but he was really powerful. And he realized that the sugar was contributing significant amount to obesity and stuff like that. His wife was a big proponent. She worked in the rainforest and stuff, so she was an environmentalist and was recognizing the patterns. And he also was sent a book to the office about sugar and the detrimental effects it has on children and for cardiovascular health and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then Coke was trying to market to younger and younger people to make them become heavy users over a long period of time.
Yeah.
And it eventually culminates into a point where he goes on a trip to Brazil and they're trying to sell Coke to Brazilian people. But I believe the quote was, he realized that these people needed a lot of things in this poor, impoverished country, but they didn't need Coke.
Yeah.
That's one thing that wouldn't help them at all. But they're still going to try to market it to them.
Yeah.
Essentially. And so he felt bad. He has a guilty conscience and obviously, starting to see the negative impact that Coke has had, even if it has had positives. And so he creates Dasani, which is their water brand that they, and everybody, all the Coke executives were like, no, you're going to make the company go down. All of that. Water is useless. You don't need to go into that business. We don't need to have a water brand, all of this stuff. And eventually, the board ends up usurping him and getting him fired for his decisions as leader because he was trying to roll back on sugar and make Coke less appealable just in order to prevent, the obesity epidemic and stuff. And so this dude, after getting fired, since he would have never quit Coke himself, it was in his family, he's not going to quit ever. After he gets fired, the first thing he does is he goes to a board of a bunch of investors. And he pitches an idea. I forget how long the idea was, but he's got all these slides. And his idea was to make carrots more marketable. So I'm sitting there, I'm fucking reading the story.
Oh, no.
And 4 days later, and I'm eating these fucking carrots. While I'm reading this shit, I'm reading what I think is a Coca-Cola article, and it ends up being the birth of the reason we have baby carrots. He was trying to market to people to make it more palatable to have snacks on the go.
Oh my God.
And his whole idea was just take something that's a vegetable that's healthy for you that already exists and make it more convenient to eat, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, God damn it. Not only does this all culminate into the, now I don't actually hate baby carrots. I understand their purpose. I know the history of them now. A man has tried to atone for his sins at Coke, and in doing so, tries to take a healthy food and make it more appealable to them. He wasn't lying to me. He was just trying to clear his own guilty conscience by creating baby carrots and making them marketable to the 35-year-old single mother that's on the go, whatever. And honestly, it was just really interesting. And it's the good omen. I just thought it was so funny that right after I happened to And I've been reading this book for like a while. Like, it's pretty long.
Yeah.
And it just happened that all of it, tied up right in that moment. I saw the carrots. I, for some reason, looked at the bag and I was like, what the fuck is baby cut? Oh shit, they've been lying to me my whole life. And then like 4 days later, I'm reading this book about Coca-Cola and this motherfucker creates baby carrots. And now I'm like, okay, well, I don't hate him anymore. I'm going to go buy more. Thank you, Jeffrey Dunn or whatever your name is. That's awesome.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a full circle.
It really was the most bizarre. I sat there for a moment and I was like, if there is a God, he's fucking with me.
Yeah.
That's what it's what it feels like.
He's like, he's going to realize that baby carrots are just cut carrots.
Yeah, not only that, but I'm going to realize that they were actually created for an altruistic purpose.
Yeah.
A good purpose. Somebody with spirit and good intentions made carrots more marketable.
Damn.
Kind of amazing.
That's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. But I guess to talk a little bit briefly more about the book, because it is really interesting and it talks a lot about how the rise of food, the rise of sugar. It talks about the bliss point of sugar. Like there's a certain point in all people, obviously it varies by race, where too much sugar is too much and too little is too little. But there is an actual range of the bliss point where it is perfect for just about everyone.
Yeah.
And so that's what they try to get to when they serve like pop and come up with all these formulas for it.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed the story of Kraft, the cheese company.
Yeah.
The guy, it starts off with a 38-year-old man peddling cheddar in Chicago.
Literally peddling.
He goes and buys cheddar and he sells it to people on the streets of Chicago. But the problem he had was that the cheese was getting moldy and it would get hard around the edges because obviously it's exposed as he's, So what does this man come up with? After several years of doing this, what he did was he was trying to find a way by boiling cheese that he could essentially just make it not do that. Yeah. So what his process was he realized that if you boil cheese and continuously stir, it doesn't separate. And if it doesn't separate, you can cool it down and pour it in a can through that essentially sterilizes it, and then it lasts longer. Yeah. And that's what creates Kraft. Him canning cheese. Him literally just heating it up, melting it, putting it in a can is why we have processed cheese now.
Damn.
That whole process. And then after that process was created, eventually there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes in where they figure out how to age cheese by using enzymes and without actually having to wait the 18 months to age cheese and stuff like that. Essentially, they create a process to where they get the dairy and then it literally after it enters the factory as dairy and exits as cheese. Yeah. And then they figure out all the different ways to make it cheaper and make it last longer. But essentially, his whole thing was he just made cheese have shelf life. Yeah. And because it's in a can and it was sterilized, it lasted longer. And the army was like, damn, we need that cheese. So he sold a bunch of them, started selling it everywhere. Jesus. Demand for it increased and whatever.
And now you get nasty cheese.
Yeah, now you can get nasty American cheese that's barely cheese anymore.
It tastes like a sheet of plastic.
Yeah,
and looks.
Yeah, literally. Cheese purists around the world recognize that the definition of real cheese is cheese that actually has to age for at least 18 months. Yeah. If it does not have any aging, it is fake. Wow. It is not real cheese.
Damn.
And then there's also a lot of interesting stories about, they talk about the process of Jell-O. Apparently Jell-O, in the past took a really long time to form. You had to boil it, it had to separate, you had to continually stir it. It was a whole process that took several hours. And as the consumer wanted more convenient and more convenient and more convenient instant food, they were like, okay, well, you can't use any additives. They're talking to the chemist who is trying to create a more instant Jell-O. Yeah. And they're like, you can't use any additives, you can't use any chemicals. You're going to try to make ethical instant Jell-O. So he struggled for several years, couldn't do it. And then he goes in the office one day and there's a patent on his desk from another company that makes Jell-O that is like within like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And the company's like, okay, everything's out the window. You can use whatever chemical you want. You just have to make instant Jell-O. And the guy's like, you got it, bro. 3 months later, he's got instant Jell-O. The old patent falls away because it's less efficient. Mm-hmm. They send, like, I think it was General Foods or something, does their patent and completely blows him out of the water.
Yeah, we got Jell-O settled in 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes, instant, anybody. Oh my goodness.
You have to kill 13 lambs, though.
Yeah, 13. Yeah, just pour the blood around the around the bowl. Make sure you got your chicken's feet in hand.
And then you send a prayer to Shamak,
yeah.
and the Jell-O's done.
Yeah. Yeah, just consult Moloch for a little bit of a ritual, and you got this. But, yeah, so that was really interesting. They talk about cereal and the battling of cereal and how they used to market it as sugary, but now people don't want sugary as much, so it goes into that. It also goes into the government's role in food, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just a really hilarious read. I mean, most of it comes down to people in businesses just trying to do interesting things.
Yeah.
And, like, the company is just dictating a little bit what they can do, but they're trying... Essentially, it's not even good intentions. It's just people trying to make things more convenient, and then it just ends up resulting in the detriment to all of society.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there was a story about the creation of Tang, that powder.
Oh, I love Tang.
Yeah, and they're talking about it, and the scientists are having trouble trying to make Tang palatable because it has this metallic taste, and they're like, man, Tang is like too. I think it was before it reached the market. They're like, oh, it's too metallic. We have all these vitamins in it, and it makes it taste like metal. And so the one chemist walks up to him, and he's like, what if we just get rid of every other vitamin but vitamin C? And they're like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And they tried it, and it tastes great. And they're like, market it. All the consumer cares about is vitamin C. Nothing else. So they just send it out.
Dude, all right. I mean, like, I was just about to say the same exact thing. Like, just take out the metal parts. Like, oh, it tastes like metal. Maybe we should either A, not sell it as is, or B, not have metal.
Yeah. And then even some of the stuff, as well as, like, it seems so common and stupid now, but back then when they were selling these foods, they didn't know how to market them to people. Like, there was a guy that went around all these companies and looked at all of the data for their sales and found out that, you know, their consumers were actually several types. And once you group the consumer by types, then you can market to them more effectively. Yeah. So, like, Campbell's Soup had, like, a bunch of different soup brands, but then this guy came in, looked at the data, and was like, well, actually, you don't have 20 different customers. You have 3 different customers. You have the normal, mild customers, you have the spicy soup customers, and then you have the chunky soup customers. Oh. Those are your 3 types. Yeah. And once you narrow it down those 3 types, then that sort of fits a broader scope of everything. Yeah. But all of it is just, like, in the end, trying to be convenient. Even the last story I read, which I'm not done with the book, because I was going through fat, I think I'm on, and then I'll get to salt. But I just finished the section about lunchables, and they talk about the creation of and it's great because they were like, well, we have so much cheese and bologna isn't selling well at all. So how do we market bologna? It was like Oscar Mayer. Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, why don't we just make a prepackaged meal that kids can eat? And they're like, well, what goes with bologna? And they're like, well, bread, but we can't keep bread in a package because it'll go bad. So they're like, well, why don't we do crackers? And they're like, okay. And then they do the marketing research, and they're like, well, is circular cheese on average, like people's opinion of it, if cheese is cut in circles, it's more appealing to a consumer. But we can't cut it in circles because that costs too much money. So we'll just do it in squares. We're going to put some bologna in there. We're going to put some crackers, and we're going to market it to the convenient mothers who don't, you know, who want to give their children a gift of food, but they don't have the time because they're working now. They entered the consumer market. They need to spend money, so they don't have time to make their kids food anymore because everything costs too much. So they do it, and it's a banger. It's a hit. Oh, yeah. But they're losing money because they don't have a good enough plastic tray for it. So They go to the tobacco companies who own all of them. Philip Morris. They own Kraft. They own Oscar Mayer. They own all the shit. The tobacco company. They were like Marlboro. Yeah, Marlboro was like, yo, we need to diversify our profit. Or our portfolio of companies. So they're like, yeah, we'll just buy Kraft. We'll buy so they just bought all these food companies. So now Oscar Mayer has access to cheese because, they got Kraft under their wing. And then they got all these other companies. And so they go up to the head and they're like, yo, we want to market Lunchables. And they look at it and they're like, yes, sweet, do it. Like the tobacco executives are all smoking cigars. They're like, yeah, we don't care, do it. And so they're like, okay, but we don't have enough money to make the process more efficient. And they're like, here's millions of dollars, go do it. Retool your system, make it better. And they're like, okay. And then it's a hit.
Yeah.
But it's all at the cost of the people because
it's all garbage food.
It's all garbage. Yeah. It's they talk about the saturated fat and the salt, and then they talk about the sugar. And they're all like something like
comes with the Capri
half.
Sun.
Yeah, they're all like half of your daily allotted amount, according to anybody. Essentially, I think it's the USDA is like what they base the diet of your daily diet off of in America.
Yeah.
But it's hysterical because then they're like, oh, well, how do we market it even better than that now that it's successful? They're like, well, we'll create this maxed out version of it that has even more sugar, even more fat, even more. And then they're like, well, how do we get the sweet tooth? They're like, we'll make a desserts version of Lunchables. You can get dessert Lunchables. And they're like, well, what do kids like? Let's go ask the kids. What do you like to eat? And they're like, we like pizza. And they're like, well, kids like to have fun, so we're gonna have pizza that they can make in their hands, and it's just raw pizza. Adults can't eat raw pizza, but children
Kids,
love it. Kids love dumb shit that they can move. It's honestly genius in one hand, and then it's also just like, for pure profit.
Yeah.
Nothing. Oh my goodness, it's just hysterical,
dude. All right, my fiance will when she goes grocery shopping every once in a while. She'll grab a few Lunchables. She just likes them for the nostalgia. Yeah. But the ingredients are terrible.
I loved Lunchables growing up too, and now that I know the history of them, I can appreciate them more. But they're not like the sort of thing you're supposed to eat. Well, in general, but also just as I'm pretty sure the guy that created Lunchables said, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
As Aristotle said, everything in moderation.
Dude, there's kids that eat a Lunchable every day.
Yeah. I feel bad for those. But sometimes it's just, whatever.
You gotta get the kid food, yeah.
As well as the fat section. The last thing I'll say about the book, because it's funny as shit. The fat section, I just recently read about the pink slime. Essentially, they were trying to figure out ways to use more cuts of beef, and everybody wanted leaner beef because they're like, oh, we're wary of fat. Yeah. We know it causes cardiovascular problems if you have too much fat, so we don't want to have heart attacks because it's increasingly linked to that, and cancer and all this other stuff. So they were like, well, we're going to use the leaner parts of a cow, but those leaner cuts of the cow have a higher chance of getting E. coli in it because, the shit gets smeared all over it. So they're like, well, what's the solution? Like, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll just mix it with ammonia. And that'll kill all the E. coli. And it gives it this unnatural pink color. Yeah. And that pink color, that pink slime, as it's been dubbed, a meat, has... As one point... at one point in America's history, accounted for 80% of the beef, like the burgers and stuff that were being served in McDonald's and all of that. What? Yeah, it was just, they would use ammonia to kill this, and eventually, the problem is that they would send these blocks of this meat. I forget what the actual name for it was because it wasn't pink slime. It was just it was called meat textured meat because it wasn't completely meat. It was weird cuts of the meat mixed with fat or whatever. And they brought it to prisons. Prisons would buy it because it was cheaper. Yeah. Because it was a cuts of meat nobody wanted. But it had less fat, so people technically wanted it. The leanest beef possible. It just had the downside of having to be ammonia treated to get rid of the E. coli. And they sent to these prisons, and they were like, man, this smells like ammonia. It's tainted. And they were like, oh, shit. Yeah, we can't keep using all this ammonia because it keeps getting tainted. It has an ammonia scent. And it's bad for people. Yeah. So, just in all these ways of trying to be more efficient, they just invariably, it's amazing. But
You ever heard of Vimboss?
No, I haven't. What is that?
It's over in the UK. I was over there a while ago, right? And the guys were telling me about Vimboss. It's like a really old drink.
Okay.
Okay, it's a drink who's 100% beef.
What?
I don't know what's in it, but it was like a can that you could crack open and like drink 100% beef, whatever that means.
We gotta buy that and put it on and bring it.
It doesn't exist anymore.
What do you mean? They got rid of it?
I think so.
Ugh.
I think it was like a wartime thing.
Oh.
So it's like, oh yeah, you get 100% of your beef right here in this can, baby.
This really easily digestible can. It's essentially like an early protein shake, I imagine, right?
Probably. Yeah, but it was like...
beef.
Yeah. But cow. So, yeah. But
Instead of whey isolate, it's just cow itself. You can drink cow.
Ingredients: cow.
Strength of the oh my god, the cow himself. I want to say ungulate, but I still think I'm wrong on that.
Ungulate. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, it's like a hoofed animal.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it could be a pig.
It goes back to our last episode of Threefoldness, where I talked about the ungulates.
That's
being
true.
The metabolic limb system of anthropophany.
Yeah.
And anthropophany? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Whatever. I'll learn eventually. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. One day, like, we're going to be doing this podcast. We're going to be, like, in our 60s.
Yeah.
Okay? And you're going to be, like, this wise old man. And you're going to have all these words that you're going to break out. And I'm going to be like, what?
I'm going to know all these words, and I'm not going to understand what any of them mean. My wisdom will be surface level ecclesiasticism. Yeah. Not even sure if I used that word right. We'll find out. As soon as somebody listens to this podcast and starts sending us emails, I know I'm going to get an earful. I'm going to get an eyeful.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be emails.
You're going to be like, your eyes are going to have to read, like, paragraphs.
They're going to be like, in episode 1, at 30 minutes, you talked about the interlocking method for preventing semen from coming out of your penis. Now, I've been studying this for a very long time. And if you use magnets instead of your fingers, it's a much more efficient method of preventing the semen from exiting.
But first you got to do a surgical procedure where you put another magnet in your urethra tube.
First you have to massage your perineum with a magnet of a certain magnitude. I specifically buy them off of Russian Amazon because it's the only high-strength isotope. And then once you're so you have to make sure it's on the third lunar day of a waning moon. It has to be at 8 p.m. astrological time. You have to make sure that your zodiac animal has been conjured in the third chakra. And after that, only then can you reach that inner spark of divinity that exists within your inner human body.
I've measured the response is exactly 4% more efficient this way.
You fucked this up in episode 4. In the lost episode, the episode 10 that is actually episode 100.
Very funny, by the way.
Yeah.
I like your guys'... there's like a backhanded compliment in there, you know.
To steal a joke from the new Ghostbusters movie, your podcast really found its voice in episode 460. Before then, it's drivel. Complete, utter shite. Detritus in the world. Debris.
How many times have you seen the new Ghostbusters?
I just watched it yesterday.
How was it?
You know...
Was it the woman one or the other... Wait, is the other new one?
We don't consult the woman one.
Okay, yeah, so there's a new Ghostbusters.
Yeah, there's a new one, but it's just like... You know, I'm increasingly disillusioned and disenfranchised with just nostalgia. I remember the old Ghostbusters, but if all of your jokes are just...
Old Ghostbusters.
Yeah, old Ghostbuster. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Yeah. I want a new plot. The plot that we keep seeing is good guys win. I don't give a fuck about that plot anymore. Figure something out, dude. Like, why don't you work on the art? Like, where's the art? I mean, I get...
It's Ghostbusters? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I understand that, you know, you can't push the envelope too far because then you're not going to get money. Yeah. And you can't sacrifice, you know, there's millions of dollars to go into it. It's easy for me to say... try harder when there's hundreds and thousands of people working on this particular project. Like, I understand that. Yeah. You know, I'm not so out of the loop and isolated that I don't understand that, it has to be marketable. It has to be
You
to
gotta
the
make
general
money.
public. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just so fucking boring. Dude.
Yes.
I mean, I hate this shit.
What are the... all right, did you go to a theater or anything?
No, we just rented it on Amazon. Because that's how people watch
that's how you
movies
do it
nowadays.
now.
Yeah. You don't go outside.
You're right, but...
Amazon or Overlord and Savior.
Yeah. Dude, all right, well, all right, there's 2 rants that actually I have for you.
Okay.
Now. But first one, okay? Movies now, because you just got me off on this.
Yeah.
I've watched a few new movies recently,
Yeah.
like even like Marvel ones and stuff. Everything is blending together. It's all the same movie.
It's a hodgepodge.
You could replace the characters and the like small little like, oh, instead of superpowers, this guy just has a gun.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And you're like, oh wow, yeah, this is all the same movie.
You can kind of reduce everything to a sentence. I mean, I know that's like a really important thing to do when it comes to like understanding the thematic points of a book. But man, I'm just finding more and more every single day that books are so much more interesting than anything I've ever seen on TV in my life.
Yeah.
I wasted so much time watching TV trying to enter the cultural zeitgeist that it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
It's completely useless.
Well, I think TV like doing episodes of things, you can do different stuff. Somewhat.
I'd say they have more freedom than movies.
Like, I would compare, like, an episode of South Park compared to other episodes of South Park. They're all different plots. Mm-hmm. Very different from each other, I would say.
There is things that exist that come up. There are things that come up that are good.
But it could be better.
Yeah, it could be better, but the machine keeps cooking the same fucking meal. Yeah. And I am getting sick, my taste buds are getting tired, and my brain is getting weary.
Yes. So, that was first rant. I not even a rant. It's not even a rant. Mm. I just noted, like, we have HBO, me and my fiance, okay? The HBO Max. You get to watch movies that come out, like,
as they come out, yeah.
Yeah. So, we watched Suicide Squad and Blade Runner, all these movies, right? And they all, like, I like them when I watch them, and then upon reflection, I'm like, it kind of just blends together. Yeah. Everything's just the same, whatever. But anyway, the other one is, dude, all right, this is something I started doing. I got really interested in, like, Google as a corporation.
Yeah. You mean it stock-wise? Investment? No. Oh, no. Okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
I've been a big Google fanboy since I was in my teens, right? 13, even before then. Probably like 11.
Yeah.
I faked my my date of birth like everybody else. Yeah. Made my email.
Rite of passage.
Made my YouTube.
Yeah.
All that junk, right? Mm-hmm. They weren't even together at that time.
Yeah.
I liked it all. I used Google Plus, which was a failed social media. I used that instead of Facebook for a while. Mm-hmm. Now, recently, I have only been hearing bad things about Google.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've realized more and more that they control almost everything that I do online in every single way. I currently hold in my hands an Android phone. The OS is made by Google.
Yeah.
I can check my email, which is a Gmail. I use Chrome sometimes, I used to. And yeah, basically everything that I do online is somehow, some way, Google knows. Okay. So I've been trying to disconnect myself more and more from it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I started, I went down the route. I got rid of Chrome on my computer. I moved over to, what's that?
Brave.
Yeah. I moved over to Brave because Brave is like completely... It's the same thing as Chrome. It's the same software, but none of the Google stuff. On my phone, I did the same thing. And then I was like, wait a second. But Microsoft also has everything I do on my computer. They're not as bad, right? Because they don't own my phone technically, but still. So then I like de-bloated my like Windows, and I'm like, do I go full Linux?
Dude,
no.
I'm contemplating full Linux. Unfortunately, my choice and field, I have to do Windows. Microsoft for a while.
Yeah.
But I if I ever make more money than this paycheck to paycheck life that I'm living, I'm gonna actually get a Linux build. Even if I have to still use the Windows computer, I want to be a Linux Chad.
Yeah.
There is an elitism in the Linux community, and I am magnetized by elitism.
Yeah.
I want to be the Linux elite. I want to have a terminal Linux. A Linux without UI.
Oh.
I want to be a terminal Chad.
No.
You will see the ripples on my brain develop.
God.
The blood surge through my head as I become and ascend to the true Linux godhood.
God.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah. But basically, what I found out is that you can't remove yourself from Google anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to delete my email, delete, like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
A ton of stuff that I have to use, like, every day for work, for everything.
Yeah.
And so I, for one, I love Google.
Yeah.
And
bringing us to the supporter of today's podcast episode, it's Google. Google, we love you, and we are completely looking forward to the singularity of the human race as we all move closer and closer towards losing our individuality.
That's right. We're not even going to talk about...
No. I can't wait to spend all my time hijacked in to the metaverse. Doing nothing but cooming.
Wait a second.
Day in, day out. I want nothing more than to completely destroy my only ability of intimacy in this world.
Yes.
By getting into more progressively degenerate types of pornography that escalate the novelty into more degenerate types of pornography.
Eventually you'll make it to scat, my friend.
Yeah. I want to go
in both ways.
Where no man has gone yet. Everything becomes sexuality. I can't look at an object without thinking of coom.
You're like, ooh. Well, wait, no. Wouldn't it be the other way? You're so desensitized.
That's true. Yeah.
You look at a wall. That's the last thing you think. You have to see.
Yeah.
I don't know. The most degrading possible thing to get off.
There's two sides of the coin. It's either you accept equally that everything can be attractive if you coom to it enough. Yet everything can be objectified. Your coat can be objectified. If you can, or you're so desensitized that nothing can get you off. Those are the two radical sides. Everything gets you off, or nothing gets you off.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think rather in the future, because eventually we'll just be united under one metaverse, people will be either desensitized, and that's like one of the wings, right, of the politics of metaverse.
Yeah.
You have the get off on everything, the Coomer X3000s, and then you have the anti I can't even get off anymore people.
I really wonder, because I was reading recently that there are some mega churches that have already signed on to only do their masses exclusively in the metaverse.
That's dumb.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, it's interesting in like a dystopian way.
Yeah. Well, did you... So, I mean, the VR chat's been around for a long time.
Yeah. And
there was a guy, I remember seeing the video of it, of the guy who's like, yeah, no, I do mass every Sunday in VR chat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's really nice. Yeah, but now, as society crumbles around us,
as we increasingly can't own anything, we have to increasingly rent everything. Mm-hmm. Nothing we actually own because it's all tied up in accounts that can be taken away from us at any moment. Physical media is becoming rendered obsolete.
Now, there's two takes with this.
Yeah.
Okay, physical things. Okay, so owning land, is that the dream? Is that where you want to go?
I think it is part of the dream.
I think most people look at that and they go that's where I need to be. But in reality, if you put all of your money into investments and other things, you could get more land later on. Mm-hmm. But getting land now is just such a good thing. Basically, what I'm saying is, no, just screw it, dude. Just take the money you were going to spend, take on debt, invest it in random things, and eventually you'll be a millionaire.
You're shilling crypto. Yeah, it's all about...
So, I have these new NFTs coming out.
Man, I love NFTs, bro.
I know, dude. At the beginning of the NFT thing, I looked into it and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. It's not really for me. And now all I can hear now is how bad they are.
It's kind of amazing. I didn't realize how hilarious they were until I've started to hear actual counterpoints to it.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite thing is that for anyone that doesn't know, an NFT is literally it's stored on the blockchain, but what's stored on the blockchain is a link to an image.
Yeah.
So if somebody changes host or decides to host different images, technically you lose whatever. I mean, you don't really own anything to begin with because you can't own the copyright of something through the blockchain.
Yeah.
That's not how the government works. That's not how copyright works anywhere. So you're not really buying the copyright. You don't own the art. You don't even own the link to the art because whoever hosts that link is the people that own at least the hosting of it. Yeah. So they could just swap your image with whatever the hell they want. Yeah. And it doesn't even matter.
There you go.
It's kind of amazing. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm just going to completely jump ship because I just remembered something.
Jump, whatever.
So there was a hack. All right. So any Source game, so Team Fortress 2 is a major one, Counter-Strike, stuff like that, okay? Old Source games, you can put in your own sprays. Right?
Yeah.
You remember that?
I think I do remember that. You can
spray whatever you want on the wall.
Yeah.
Whenever I play Team Fortress 2 a lot, I put in a GIF because I was an elite hacker and people were like, whoa. Yeah, you could also have images that there was always one of a sexy girl. Yeah. And then as you got closer to it, it would change into just some dude's butthole or something.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so you could do junk like that, okay? It was cool. It's a cool little thing.
A little bit of individuality in there.
It is. And so recently, this was probably a few months ago actually now, but what you can do is if you wanted to dox someone, you can spray child pornography onto the thing. Now, in order to have someone else's computer see your sprayed image, it has to download it into a temporary folder. Now, say what happens is you download that, and normally it gets deleted after you go to a different server or whatever, right? And it deletes all the temp files, right? Yeah. But what if you got doxxed, so you can't join another server, and then someone reports you for child pornography on your computer, and then they do a search. What is this? Yes. You can also do that with maps. You can just hide child pornography deep in the map somewhere where no one can see it. Just underneath some surfaces or whatever. Maybe someone will find it eventually or whatever. And you can distribute that map. And then just destroy everybody.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And terrible.
It's kind of terrifying, really.
Yeah. Dude, I just wanted to come here. It actually, this goes into the topic of why gooming is bad for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these people aren't even gooming.
Yeah.
They're just innocent people that are got a file download that they probably didn't even look at.
No. Well, obviously you're not going to open up the map files in the map editor and look under 50 tiles that you can't even access in game.
Exactly.
Find it.
Yeah, you're going to go on game.
You're just going to play the game.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot people. And you're going to go to bed.
Yeah.
And then before you go to bed, you're going to log on to Pornhub.com.
That's right.
And then you're going to rub one out.
You're going to put on your Oculus Rift. Yeah. Get into the metaverse.
Yeah. Make sure that you have your super sucker connected to your hips that move in tandem with the video.
Jerk.
Yeah. And once Jerkmate jerks you to the timestamps of the video, it'll be like you're actually having sex with a real woman.
You'll be loading into a hot MILF in your area.
Yeah.
And then your suckmate will turn on.
Yeah. And then the best part about that is that consciously you know that you're not having sex with a woman, but you're tricking your brain into thinking you're having sex with a woman. So your unconscious can later feed you a bunch of bad chemicals in your brain that says, hey, you're not actually having sex with women, and I know you aren't, and I'm going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
And that's wye you're depressed.
I see.
Yeah.
What? Thank you for fixing me.
Yeah. I'm your therapist for today.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's work through some things.
Yeah. What are you struggling with? Tell me.
Right now, I am at a point in life. I think we talked about this literally last episode.
Yeah, we did.
I just don't. I don't know. I don't do things.
You don't have motivation.
I have motivation. Like, I mean, like, I worked out today. I cleaned my house today. I was home all day.
Yeah.
So, like, I did stuff that was productive.
Yeah. But you don't feel like it's...
just don't feel like it's worth... Like, it's worth doing, obviously, but I just don't feel like it's a positive thing, really. Like, I'm like, well, the house is going to get messy again. If I stop working out, I'll just get fat or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I am depressed.
Yeah, maybe you are.
Yeah.
Here's some pills.
Thank you. Dude, some Zans?
I'm prescribing you. We're just going to hijack all the chemicals in your brain. And, I am making a joke out of this. I do understand that antidepressive pills can work for some people.
I think there is... So, like, I think no one really denies that there are people that have just missing chemicals in their brain. Yeah. That make them feel depressed.
Abnormalities.
There are also people that are just, like, sad for some reason. Yeah. And it leads to depression. Mm-hmm. What would be classified as depression, but they don't have the same chemical deficiency that someone who has, like, super depression does. Mm-hmm. I think the actual depression has a real name, but
it doesn't matter. Super depression works.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the problem is that there is this belief in these ideas that may or may not be true. Mm-hmm. I think that people view anxiety in a negative light, and it's actually an incredibly positive thing. It's the thing that anxiety is the thing that gets you up and tells you to do shit. Yeah. It's to listen to that tiny voice in you to go cultivate something powerful.
Or instead of feeling the anxiety, I can log on to TikTok and watch 4 hours of videos and then fall asleep, go to work, and then watch more videos.
Yeah, and the best part about TikTok is it's catered to you. Yeah. The machine learns. Yeah. And you can't escape the loop. Well, I mean, you can escape the loop, but it is very efficient at what it does. Yes. Not only every time you scroll vertically do you see something new and interesting in a short, digestible, to your squirrel-like brain attention span that it slowly devolves. But you can also, the video itself is progressing horizontally. So even if you stop, even if you're not engaging with it, there's still something happening. Yeah. So you can either interact with it and keep the loop going infinitely in the vertical direction, or you can it'll infinitely play over and over and over again. It'll never stop.
You don't have to even think. Yeah.
You can just completely brain out. Yeah. Over and over. And then it'll learn what you like. So if you really like a specific ethnic minority doing a specific ethnic tribal dance... It'll learn that you like that and that you engage with that content. And whatever content you engage with, it'll keep feeding it to you. It'll find ways to feed it to you. And it'll recommend things very efficiently to you that it thinks you will like. And you will be trained to like them.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Pavlovian dog.
I can't wait.
It's amazing. Behaviorism has opened up a world of wonder in humanity.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
So you feel like you're not doing anything... that's purposeful. I mean, what is purpose to you? I suppose
that's where I think I think I'm stuck at the very I feel like a while ago, right before I got my house, before I started my own business, I had a lot of drive to save for a house, start my own business, and become successful enough to have a house, and that was my goal, and it seemed like it was far away, but then I just did that. And then I was like, okay, I've done this. Thankfully, I had success. I guess I don't know how to be humble about that. I don't know if that was humble or anything.
It doesn't matter to me, bro. I'm acting like I have an answer for everything, and I really don't.
Yeah, me and I, we have the answers.
I'm just going to pretend and be confident enough, and look, I think that'll help me get through.
Someone will send us an email with a question, and we will have the answers.
Yeah, I can admit that I am going to pretend I have the answer. Yes. And I will admit when I'm wrong about the answers.
Yeah. Pretending is fun. Yeah. So, but anyway, I think right now I don't have a big goal.
Do you think maybe we should spend some time in this episode giving you a goal. Is there something that really speaks to you?
Not really, man. I want to get good at some kind of sport thing.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I I love doing like mountain biking.
Mm.
Like I like hitting the little jumps. It's gives you good brain chemicals. It's good for you.
Mm.
It's a fun little like hobby, right?
Mm.
I like swimming. I don't know. I like physical exercise, right? And I feel like the better I get at something, the more likely I do it.
Mm.
And so I want to get into that. Something else I want to kind of get into is actually like I used to do archery and stuff.
Mm.
I used to I've never shot a deer with my bow, but I would hunt with a bow, and even though I never saw any deer, if there was one, there was a potential that I could have shot an arrow at it. And I kind of looked back recently and like, I kind of enjoyed like just practicing. So I don't know. Basically, the reason why I want to get good at something is that way I have something to do.
Mm-hmm. So you're trying to find ways to occupy your time that are productive, would you say?
Yeah.
And productive to you is obviously has a positive impact on your life and your health.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I can see that. All it takes is one of the most useful pieces of advice, and I may be repetitive here because I'm definitely going to say this over the course of our podcast very many times. One of the things I really liked about I think it's Scott Adam. I might have the wrong name. But the creator of Dilbert wrote a book called How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it details a lot of his failures in his life and the things he learned to help, be successful. And one of the interesting things that he said was that having goals is stupid because if you have a goal, you're always in a constant state of pre-success failure. Because if you aren't reaching the goal, you're failing. And that's a very difficult thing to wrap your brain around because you're always going to be failing until you meet the goal. Mm. And then after you get the goal, it's not going to feel that, useful because you're going to have to find a new goal and you're going to have to find some motivation for that. So what he recommends is having systems, which I think is really interesting. And essentially, systems just boil down into habits. Uh-huh. Essentially, if you have a goal of writing a book, for example, your system should be something like write a page a day. Or spend 5 minutes writing every day. Mm-hmm. Because eventually, through doing that system, you will have a book. Yeah. Even if it's shit, even if it's bad, you're still at the end of the day doing it. Yeah. And that becomes a habit. And your brain gets rewarded for doing those habits and for carrying them out repeatedly. So, it sounds like you already know this. I'm just repeating it for clarity's sake. But this idea of there are things you want to get good at, but the obviously only way to get good at them is to just continually do them, to habitually work them into your life. Yeah. Life is just a bunch of small decisions.
That it is.
That add up to your character.
I think that part of, okay, I don't have many habits that I do every day. Part of the issue with that is my work schedule is random. Mm-hmm. And so, I can't, if I say I'm going to work out every morning at, 7 or 6 or whatever, right? Wake up early, go work out. I'll eventually get a job where it'll be like, okay, you got to be at work at 6. Mm-hmm. And it'll be like, well, okay, how do I get around this? Do I wake up earlier? Do I, I don't know. So I think it's hard for me to maintain some, any habit, really.
I would say that a lot of it, I'm realizing now that there's an immense amount of importance in ritual. Mm-hmm. I think religion, although it's not very popular now, is something that gave people purpose through ritual. Mm-hmm. Like going to church every Sunday and stuff like that. Like just doing things, being a part of the community. But even something simple like praying. I mean, essentially when you boil down praying in every religion, it is like meditation. It is consulting the divinity within you, but also feeling whatever that feeling is. I can't describe it. Yeah. But I think that you have to find ways to create ritual if you don't have it.
So, I've been journaling.
Yeah, the journal is a ritual.
Every night.
Okay.
Or every once in a while, I'll skip a night, but then I'll go back and fill it back in. Now I am using what is called the Me Journal or Theme Journal. Okay. Okay. This is made by a YouTuber guy, whatever. I can't remember the name. He's the guy that does all the weird like data ones. I think it's something gray.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know you're
He's very
talking
monotone voice.
Yeah.
So he had a journal, and it looked really interesting to me because the beginning of it is just normal journal pages. At the very beginning, there's like a few pages of like problem solving kind of like weird ones, and then it's just normal journal pages, and then towards the back there's like essentially a checklist with circles with slashes through them, and so you write on the left hand side, you write like what you want to keep track of. So you have what you want to keep track of, and then the date on the top, and then there's a grid of circles. So you go down, you can fill in the circle like halfway or all the way, depending on if you feel as though you did that task all the way or half of the way.
Mm.
And so, on mine, I have work, meditation, working out, cooking, there's a few more, any loving.
Mm-hmm.
As
gotta keep track.
That's right. I found it it's just something fun to keep track of anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You can sometimes what is a half circle for that? Who knows?
Yeah.
There's one more I can't remember. The other one's journaling.
Yeah.
No.
That's the circle.
That one's easy. I just fill it out.
Yeah. If I fill the journal, then
Yeah, it's right there. I just get to fill out a circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been keeping track of all that stuff. And what I've noticed is that because of that, I've been meditating more and working out more because I'm like, it's been like 3 days since I worked out.
Yeah.
So I need to fill out my circles. Dude.
Yeah. I'm not filling my circle. Essentially, it's like gamifying life.
Yes.
And there is power in the gamification of, doing it.
Seeing as though, that's another thing I keep track of. On the actual journal pages, how much time I waste every day. Mm-hmm. That's exciting. That's great. What a great motivator.
Yeah. Honestly, that's something I need to do. There's an old funny comedy sketch by Dimitri Martin called If. Yeah. And in there, he talks about, it's kind of like a philosophical introspective journey for him about figuring out how to be, a better person, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but in there, he has a whole section where he talks about, he creates this point system for himself. And it is essentially what you're doing, but instead of circles, it's points. Yeah. And he has categories that have points, and each category has to reach what he deems at a certain amount of points in order for him to consider himself a full person. But then it ended up devolving to the point where he spends so much time worrying about getting points that he just acts like a fucking weirdo to get points. Like, to do nice things for people, he just, goes out of his way to be more annoying and, there's he has, certain categories for his girlfriend and reading, and some of them are easier than others to get points in, but then others he's just trying to skimp points out of stupid things. It's really funny.
He ends up trying to, scam himself. He's like, oh, wait, but I gotta hold the door open for 3 more people today.
Yeah, that's the only way I get and then it just becomes arbitrary and meaningless because it's all about getting the points rather than, obviously it's not what
gaming
you're doing.
The system.
It was really funny to see that taken to a very autistically, statistically mathematical level, and then it just failing and becoming this demon of horrible life decisions.
Jesus.
But yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, reducing everything to point systems, and it works. And obviously it works for the things that you're doing, but when it reaches the point of gotta read X pages, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta push walls for 5 minutes every single day. Gotta write my points. I only got 30 points this week. I suck.
But I think another part of why I feel this way, I don't have any physical challenges. I want to go snowboarding. Yeah. Okay. But it is so hard to motivate myself to drive an hour to the nearest snowboarding place, spend $100 and whatever dollars to get a pass and a snowboard, and then do it for 4 hours, 5 hours, be like, well, I'm tired. Yeah. And then drive home. I don't know. I want to do something like that, but it's that doesn't exist around.
As well as money.
Yeah. I don't want to spend, Mm-hmm. If I'm going to do this, if I wanted to do it every week or whatever, if I bought a season pass at the, beginning of the year or whatever, then sure. But I didn't.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Obviously, you're trying to do things, but certain things cost money, and then when you spend money, you're. It seems like the whole society and life is just to make money. So if you're spending money and you're not spending time making money, then it almost feels unproductive, even if the thing that you're doing is more productive to your health and which improves your ability to get money in it's like a self-defeating cycle in a way.
Well, so I this probably hasn't happened to you. Well, yeah. So I recently looked up how much people in my field with my level of experience on Glassdoor make. Okay. And so I have my own business and I pay myself, I don't even care. I pay myself $46,000 a year, a salary. Okay. Yeah. It's $20 an hour. Well, probably like 22 with 46, I think. I don't know. It's around $20 an hour. Okay. Yeah. Looking up online for average wages in my field. Mm-hmm. Okay. 73 was the average. Wow. With 1 to 2 years of experience, and I have 6.
Jeez.
So
sounds like you gotta pay yourself better.
Yeah, but the issue then, I looked at myself and I'm like, wait, my business doesn't make enough money to pay me. I've been doing the whole system wrong. I have been allowing myself to get undercut on all this junk for a while now.
Yeah.
And so now I have to go back and talk to people and go like, yeah, so we need to renegotiate on some money here.
Yeah. I'm not getting paid well enough because I've been, stupid about it.
Well, and I mean, how about this? You know what? This is the episode. Today is the day.
All right.
I'm a robot programmer.
There you go.
Okay, I program robots. Yeah. I'm independent.
Yeah.
And so I run my own business. I ask people for money and junk. Yeah. Now, you can't find any of this information online. So maybe this will reach someone who's also looking for this information like I was a few years ago.
Yeah.
You can ask for money. Whenever I first started, I was like, ooh, $52 an hour seems like a lot. Maybe I asked for 46. And so I would ask, be like, do you think I get 46 an hour? They're like, oh, yeah, sure. And I'm like, okay, that was a little fast.
Yeah, maybe
there's no negotiating.
Yeah,
so then
how much do you want to pay me an hour?
Yeah, you can't really ask that because they'll be like, oh, how much is your usual rate? Is usually what they'll go to.
Yeah.
So then I bumped it up. I'm like 52. That'll get them. And like that, everybody was like, yeah, sure. And the stupid part is that like, this is gonna see like, all right, I hate this. I hate not. Okay, I can't not. So like. I feel as though I deliver a good service.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel as though that most people that I work with call me back and ask me to work again. Mm. So using that data, I can say that I'm potentially a good person to work with and that I'm good. Right? Okay. So there are people that come in, charge $120 an hour, work for 3 months on a machine, don't get anything done. And then I follow up behind them, and within 3 days have fixed everything that they had wrong. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? I've been doing this wrong forever.
Yeah, you're supposed to be failing. That's where I think you...
Yes.
You have to be not... it's a hard moral thing to do, right? Because it's either you be ethical and actually get stuff done at a reasonable rate, or...
Dude, I really think that I would get more work if I get everything done really fast, and eventually I will be able to grow my business and hire people. Because that's the dream, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Where I don't
not
have
to work. Yeah, other people work for you.
Yes.
That's how you get passive income, right?
Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, eventually I want to get there, but, like, I've been screwing myself for, like, the last 3 years. So now... I'm going back through. I'm going to redo a bunch of junk. How this came up was my fiance, who currently is the breadwinner.
Yeah.
All right. I won't say how much money she makes, but she's currently the breadwinner. She recently was demoted at her job.
Demoted?
Yeah. She had like a fairly high position-ish. And what happens at her company is it's a lot of people, a lot of pressure and junk like that. So they constantly are promoting, demoting. It looks really good on paper, right? Mm-hmm. Because, we promoted thousands of people last year. Come join our company, mm-hmm. right? And so you can get promoted fairly easily. But then once you're there, they kind of target people that are making more money because you make more money the longer you do it. So they'll start targeting you. And this job involves checking files and stuff. So if someone's checking every single one of your files rather than every 3 files, they're going to find more issues. Mm-hmm. And so eventually it becomes means for either getting fired or demotion. So my fiance had an emotional week of going through all of this, like, because they would threaten her job. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't think we're going to be able to do, everything. I'm like, look. I can take care of everything. We had the talk of that, and she's like, okay, well, she's always been good at things her whole life. Mm. And so like whenever something doesn't work out well, it's like devastating. Yeah. Whereas like probably for me or you, whatever, it would probably be like, well, that sucks, but
we'll figure it out.
Keep living. Yeah.
I suppose I do notice this in me and dare I say men. Yeah. I definitely have met a lot of guys. I know it's not the same for everyone, and there's a bunch of differences. But it's not like having to, I notice that it's easy for me to take risk, I guess is what I'll say. Yes. And it's easy for me to be confident. Uh-huh. Even if I don't know anything of what I'm talking about. Whether it's hubris or otherwise.
Dude, I think I have that same skill. It's a good time.
For me, like, my anxiety doesn't come from my, like, inability to do things. Uh-huh. I'm confident I can do whatever I set my brain to. Yeah. My anxiety comes from the external, like, do I masturbate or don't I masturbate? How do I cultivate the highest energy? Yeah. What is min-maxing in life? Is God real? Uh-huh. Which God do I believe in? Yeah. What is the ethics that I need to have to be a better person? Like, these are the things that give me anxiety. Yeah. It's not, the like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, like, dude, I'll live in a shoebox. I'm grateful for everything I got. Yeah. If I gotta be the fucking dude that brings this computer tower to Starbucks to work on what I want to work on, I'll fucking do it.
Fire up the rig.
I know I can learn how to fix a car. I have a brain. Yeah. I'm not worried about those things. Mm-hmm. I will deal with them when I get to them. Yeah. So I definitely understand from what you're saying from the perspective of, like, you got energy and you have confidence and you have a malleable brain to, not that your wife doesn't have these things, she's just stressed, she's worried about it. Yeah. Well, that worry manifests as,
yeah, emotional. I mean, to like give you a better picture, I mean, like my fiance, very smart, good at school, right? Passed all of her class. She was homeschooled and then went to college and was still fine. Like, still got all A's. Yeah. While working like a part-time job, and you know what I mean. So like she's been through a lot, and this is the first time where it's been like roadblock. Yeah, and so that is a devastating time. For me, it was in school, and at that moment, I think everybody has like a resolve afterwards. At that moment, I realized that none of it mattered to me. And that's when I became lazy and pretty much got C's and D's the rest of school. Yeah. But
I had that epiphany too. Yeah. I realized that I don't need to constantly placate my parents to get good grades, because the things I want from them, I don't need their approval. And I suppose it took me way later in life, till like a couple years ago, to realize that I don't really need, like, my friends' approval either. I need to just do what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And whether they stick with me or not, that's their own prerogative and decision.
Yeah, I mean, I approve.
Yeah, you approve.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. At the end of the day, the people that will hang around are the people that, care, approve. They're gonna work through it. I mean,
they wanna. Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. She's she's had a lot of success, and it's a big stressful roadblock.
Yeah.
And we're more lackadaisical about it.
I mean, like, no matter what, like I told her, like, my stress level for, like, work is maybe at a 20% max right now.
Yeah.
I have all this room to grow.
Yeah.
I can make a more money if I need to.
Yeah.
But because I'm in an area where I don't have any big goals set, I'm just kind of like, oh, let me just buy like a knife on Amazon. Yeah. Like,
it really, that's the difficulty too, because it's like, you got to not get complacent. And then you also got to want it. You really got to want it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the desire for anything, and this is hearkening to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, a book I read.
Yeah.
If you do not desire the thing that you'll never get it.
Yep.
If you don't work hard at what you want, you will never get it.
Yep.
And it starts with desire. And it's difficult to desire. And it's a matter of, a whole multitude of things, but it starts with desire.
Yeah. This is where part of my personality is bad, because I've gotten to a point where I'm good, and now I feel as though the only thing that will push me forward is someone else going like, I want to go forward. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I understand. I get that. The need to like work together with people.
Well, it's not really kind of. I mean, like, I just feel like the extra push, like having someone rely on me to do something is super motivating.
It's empowering.
Yeah. Yes. Because I'm like, this person relies on me to do this. I'm going to do it the best I can.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like, maybe what I need to do is I need to merge my business with someone else.
It's true.
And just
you got to find somebody that needs you.
Yeah.
I think that's just a natural inclination in me as well. This like, I feel more and more like I want to be a providing role or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's really bizarre. I don't think it's like a power trip thing. I think like naturally I just want to be, somebody that can provide something. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but just something.
We have a friend that I've talked to that is, I guess the easiest way to describe him would be gay. Mm-hmm. And has glasses.
Okay.
Yeah. So that person, he has talked to me several times on how his like greatest desire is to be a provider. Mm-hmm. That is like, for him, like, if he can get to the point where he's providing for someone, mm-hmm. he is like, life complete. It's not even like a sexual thing. It's nothing. It's just literally life.
Yeah.
That's where he wants to be.
It's like, it's almost like we're biologically predisposed to have family or something.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
I know. It's almost like, you get told to have children through your brain chemicals.
Yeah. Your brain itself is telling you want to provide for something or someone.
Yeah.
I think I'm realizing more and more. My difficulty is that I viewed anxiety as an antagonist my whole life.
Yeah.
And now I recognize that, like, I got to stop with this arrested development. I got to actually grow up.
Yeah.
I can't keep suckling on mommy's teeth, And I suppose that's my biggest struggle with pornography and masturbation. It isn't that I don't think masturbation can be healthy. I think it can be, but I think porn has perverted it. And I think that, and I also recognize the potential of energy that is there, latent within you. And I'm just trying to figure out if the longer I don't ejaculate, if I am just getting crazy and like mentally unwell, or if I'm getting stronger.
Okay, all right. Wait a second. I'm about to. All right. Yeah. In Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
You know how? All right. I think this is a backstory. This just flashed in my mind. Okay. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure that if like the Saiyans don't like beat each other up or whatever, they get really angry, and that's when they turn to monkeys and junk. Yeah. So what you're looking at right now is you're trying to control your monkey.
Yeah.
You're a Saiyan.
No, I agree. Yeah. I do agree. I've read a lot about, I've been reading more and more about philosophy and stuff, and they all talk about this concept of, like, you have to rein in your instincts. Like, you have an instinctual, like, you can look at Freud with the id, that primal aspect of you. You can look at Schopenhauer, where he talks about how the will, the like instinct, is a really buff blind man, and the intellect is a really slender man that's being carried by this blind man that has eyes. Yeah. And the intellect tries to lead you around, but the big strong man is, pulling you in all these directions. Yeah. And then there's also like all the, it goes even further. Like if you want to go to Greek philosophy and stuff like that, this whole concept of, they fear the man who can control himself more than the man who can level cities. Yeah. Because the true strength comes from somebody that can control all of his desires. So then it becomes a matter of like, what the hell is that? Like, what does it mean to fully realize that? Mm-hmm. Is it just simply that in the daisy pulling petals of do I coom or don't I coom? Is that am I controlling myself by not cooming? Or, like, what are the desires? Like, I have desires to eat things. If I fast, does that, like,
do you defeat it? Yeah.
Am I defeat it? Like, what is defeat or control? That becomes a completely difficult question.
I think that just comes from you.
Yeah, it's gotta. I mean, it's gotta be what your heart feels, right? Yeah. Your spirit.
I think everybody's different, right? Yeah. I mean, like, a challenged... So, I know a guy that fasts for 3 days at a time. He'll fast 3 days... and then go on to, like, normal eating for, like, a month or whatever. Yeah. And be like, oh, I've been feeling like I've been eating too much sugar or whatever. I just want to, like, reset and just start. And he's fine doing it. Yeah. Me, personally, I probably would pass out.
I wonder. Yeah, it's something I've never done. I don't really know the limits of my body in terms of fasting.
And it, to me, I look at that and I'm like, okay, if I don't eat anything from, like, the moment... Like, if I wake up... Mm-hmm. And let's just say I work till like 4 o'clock. Yeah. I get home and I'm like shaking. Yeah. Right? I'm like, I need something. Mm-hmm. Something needs to be inside of me. Is it just some bacteria dying off my stomach that's like, oh, well, we don't have any other food?
We're so used to food, I'm just going to eat you.
Yeah, what could that be? Or is it literally like, oh, your blood sugar is dropping, you will pass out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like that's dangerous, the other thing isn't.
Yeah. That's hard to know.
Yeah. With that guy, he knows.
Yeah. But it's something we gotta try. Maybe we'll do a 3-day fasting podcast.
We would... I would be so pissed the whole time. Like, I get hangry.
I think it would be amazing. I think it would truly... So hungry. I think it would be true art.
Oh my god, we would have like a timer... Yeah. And, like, order some, like a burger or something.
Dude, I think I would want anything but... McDonald's. I think
not McDonald's.
Oh, just like
a better burger. Yeah, like a real burger.
That's true. A real burger would probably... Actually, it might be too much food because, like those people that you have a refeeder syndrome or something. Like, you got to introduce stuff slowly. Yeah. I don't know if it happens after 3 days of fasting, but, it's worth considering.
Well, we would have to, like, do some research on it, right? But maybe we could start out with some, like, cheese and crackers or something. Like, maybe we pop open a Lunchable.
Yeah.
After our fast.
Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do a Lunchable fast.
The worst one.
They have a lot of sugar, a lot of sodium, and a lot of fat.
There we go. Yeah.
I want an Oscar Mayer fat-ass bologna sandwich after my fucking fast. That's what I want to do.
Delicious.
Oh, my God.
So, you know what else we could eat?
Yeah.
Some of your flower
that's right.
petals here.
So, my co-host forgot food, but luckily, in this office... I have really bizarre shit that we haven't used.
Yeah.
And,
do you want a thing to poke that open?
Yeah, do you have something? Oh, never mind, I got it.
I was about to say, my keys got it.
I forced it.
Yeah.
Like a man.
You're a big boy.
Yeah.
You don't have girly nails.
No. You know. I actually don't even have nails. I bite them off because I'm anxious.
Oh, I do that too. I think that's just a habit thing,
I gotta fucking
honestly.
Stop. It's time to stop. Bro.
Let me ask you, though. What's the downside?
I feel like I hurt my hands more often.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I chew, like, too much.
Oh, you go too deep.
Well, I just end up, like, it creates more problems than if I just stop doing it and cut it with a nail clipper.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, like, this is probably gross to people who don't do this, but I feel like a lot of people do this.
I think a lot of people do, but I'm not sure. I just got to manage anxiety better.
I think that's, like, an unga bunga thing, right? Where you just, like... eventually, like, what if, like, we eat this and we start seeing stuff?
I mean, that's going to make this podcast only more interesting.
Can you, so what is it?
So my girlfriend and I venture to the Asian market, and they sell a lot of very interesting things there. And I think you're supposed to use this in tea, but these are dried violet flowers, and we're just going to eat them. So if I'm looking,
even like,
yeah, it has nutrition facts. So
okay.
It apparently has 12 milligrams of sodium, 3 grams of carbohydrates. It has 2 grams of dietary fibers, and it has less than 1 gram of protein. It has no vitamins that I can see on here. And it's from China.
Yeah.
Dried violet.
Is their nutrient facts the same as here?
I think if you sell stuff here, you have to comply with the nutrient facts, because they're all in English.
Oh, okay. So they put
yeah,
a
you have to
label on
USDA compliant. You have to, if you're selling your shit here, it has to be under that. So we have in our hands 2 flowers. I don't think this is going to make any noise at all, but we're going to eat them.
I'm going to make noise.
Okay.
All right.
So should we do a countdown? Because this looks bad.
Yeah, we should eat it the same, because I feel like if
I want to talk about the smell for a minute.
It smells like flowers.
It smells awful. I mean, it smells
really?
like violet, but it doesn't smell edible. It's not something I immediately want to put in my mouth.
It kind of reminds me of a potpourri.
Yeah, it's like eating bathroom potpourri.
You know what? I've had tea that tastes like this.
Okay, well, I
kind of like the smell, but anyway.
If you like the smell, you might like the taste.
Yeah, I won't taste the same though. I guarantee it.
All right, so on one.
Yeah, I'm gonna immediately grab some water. Okay, it kind of has really stale popcorn texture. You can really taste the flowers and like the stems. Mmm. Okay, actually, wait a second.
Wait, the end taste is getting
good.
Yeah.
Once you chew it up enough, you taste like the what do you call it? What all the pollen is.
Oh no, it's back to like soap taste.
No, there's something else. Yeah. So basically,
God.
Yeah. So all right, there was pleasant parts. There was a sweetness in there somewhere.
There was. It honestly tastes like you were just chewing a dry flower.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You know what? That's the taste right there.
It wasn't a good texture.
No.
It's so dry that when it goes down your throat, it just scratches everything on the way.
Yeah. Luckily, I've been sipping on some water that I got from you. And that actually, since my mouth was pre-lubricated, I was good.
Yeah. I've never properly endeavored to have the etiquette to give you a drink for this podcast. So today, I thought, man, this boy must be thirsty. After last episode.
Damn, yeah. Oh, God.
That was actually just awful. What would you rate that?
What would I rate it?
Yeah.
Jeez. 2. If you put it in tea, remove the texture completely, right? And just have the taste of the sweet part.
Yeah. It honestly tastes how it smells, and it didn't smell that appealing to me. Okay. I'd probably give it a 0, but I think I could understand, people like their flower tea. Maybe I personally like black tea and green tea. I mean, those are stronger teas. But...
Do you like oolong?
Yeah, oolong's good.
Oolong's good.
I don't usually like the flowery stuff that much.
Gotcha.
But
I like so I've been that's another thing. I've been cutting down caffeine stuff. Like,
okay.
I've been skipping days of coffee.
Okay, how's
just
that?
Because it controls my life.
Yeah.
Every other day you wake up with a headache because of the caffeine addiction. Which is when you drink more coffee. So realistically, I'm probably like slowly getting off of it.
Yeah. Is this something you want to be completely off of?
No. I love the taste of coffee.
Yeah.
It's just when I'm not working, like I didn't work yesterday and I'm not going to work till Monday. So like, I don't need it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not feeling like making it or like drinking it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Right? It's just going to give me caffeine and I'm going to sip it and be like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't like things controlling my life. I dare tell you my worst fear in life is getting diabetes.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Man, it's time to work on that now while you're young.
That's why I work out and avoid sugar.
Yeah. No, I get you. I've definitely been avoiding sugar more and more. And it's not even just because that's the only thing that causes diabetes and stuff. Like, there's plenty of links with fat and saturated fat specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta... Yeah.
And the most common vessel for saturated fat is cheese. So... Really? Yeah.
I thought it would be like chips.
No. Well, chips do have it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But the most saturated fat is usually from cheese.
Damn. Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what's really good? You're at fondue.
I have. It is very good.
It is.
Yeah.
There's a fondue place in the fancy area of town over there.
Oh.
That I take my fiance for our.
Is it expensive?
So it's $100.
Wow.
For both of you.
Okay.
Okay. So one thing. It's 3 things. Well, actually 4. So for $100 you get a salad, the cheese fondue, then you get a hot pot. Essentially. So you pick a bunch of meats and fish and whatever, and you dip that in there, and then you get a chocolate one.
Oh, that does sound pretty good. I mean, it's like $50 a person, right? But still.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're eating a 4-course meal.
Yeah.
So it's like the value's there if you're willing, if you really want, like, you know.
I'll tell you what, I think I spend $14 a week on food.
Yeah. That's really good.
My cumulative earning of money through the last year was $3,000.
Yeah.
That is what I get to do my taxes on back.
So you're getting all your money back.
I have enough tax write-offs, I think, through deductions of things I've invested in the business that I don't think... I mean, granted, it's since I'm independent, sole proprietor, I don't pay... I mean, I pay, like, taxes on some stuff, but it's more about them not taking my money more than, you know...
Yeah.
Because I only made $3,000. So,
yeah.
And I spend a lot of money on even just the office and things for my business.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I mean, I have plenty of completely legal deductions that I am. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need anything like side whatever, but
no.
Yeah, man, these violets are kicking in, dude.
I'm starting to see stuff. You seeing things? What kind of things are you seeing?
I'm seeing orange things, blue things, red things.
Are they taking shape?
Yeah. Circle. Square.
Circles and squares.
No. Everything has edges. Do you know how a deer sees?
No.
This is probably... I don't know how you can prove this, but it is told that this is how a deer sees things. They see edges, right?
Okay.
And so, if I'm sitting here, rather than seeing me as we see each other, which is like, as like a whole person, mostly we look at faces, right? People look at faces of things.
Yeah.
And so a deer just kind of looks around and looks for edges, right? And so an edge will eventually align with it. It'll make a shape, right? So imagine like a grayscale, just grid.
It's like outlines, kind of? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what it does is you kind of reduce all the like processing of everything else. So you can quickly see an edge moving, quickly decide, is that a leaf? Is that a cougar? Or is that a deer? It's a leaf. Okay. And then you can go back to eating, right? What it's for is just for like quicker processing. In a weird way, like they need to be able to make decisions really fast. So they see edges. I don't know what even brought me to this other than seeing the violet colors.
Yeah, because that is very interesting, and I did not know that. Yeah. I mean, I know that like dogs can only see 2 colors specifically more than everything else. Yeah. I think it's like blue and yellow or something like that.
Yeah.
So those are the most prominent things for them. And obviously, depending on the number of cones in your eyes and your whole biology, that's going to determine a lot of what you can see. But I do really wonder how they were able to figure that out for deers.
Yeah, because I just heard this.
Do you think somebody put a deer eye in their eye and then their socket?
I think it's not about the eye. I think it's more about how your brain processes what the eye is seeing.
I see.
Okay. Does that make sense?
I can understand that,
yeah. So I don't know how they could actually even do that. So this could be complete lies.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. But we're going to get an email about it.
Yeah.
If you would like to email a question
Yeah.
to us, the email's in the description.
Yeah, it's like rovingslant@gmail.com.
Is it that easy?
I thought it was.
Okay.
Because I don't think anybody had Roving Slant as,
It's
as
true.
a name.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, I do want to try. So I need the audio from the other episodes.
Yeah.
This is something that we can talk about this a little bit afterwards. But really quick, I was going to post this on the Spotify service
yeah.
thing that like posted to like a few different
Yeah, I
places.
saw Anchor or whatever.
Anchor. Yeah. So yeah, I need the actual source.
Yeah, I'll give them to you.
Yeah. But anyway.
Sweet. We're gonna be bigger than we ever thought we would be.
Yeah.
I didn't even upload last episode yet. We're just doing this episode.
Yeah.
Without having up because I got other things going on. I got to make my 3K a year, dude.
He's got life.
I got stuff to do.
I got life. You got life. I can do the episode.
Yeah, we'll have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we
go back into the metaverse?
Yeah, well, before we go back into the hallucinogen that is the violets we just ate.
Wait a second.
Is this real?
Wait a second.
Wait, dude, I can only see the outline of you, bro. I'm phasing out.
Wait. You're becoming an elk. No!